All right, today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things in selling, to hear from a prospect that you probably have never heard this before. I love it when I'm having a conversation. A lot of times this happens more over the phone, obviously, or definitely this happens over the phone. Is the prospect says, "Are you still there?" That's when I know I'm doing my job as a salesperson. You all have heard the rule. Get your customer to talk 60, 70, 80% of the time. You do 20, 30, 40% of the time, whatever it may be. And why is that and how does that work? So my response, I want my prospects to ask me, "Are you still there?" And then I always just follow up with, "Yep, I'm just taking notes," or "Yep, I'm just listening. I'm hearing out what you got to say." All those little things. And here, there's magic in what happened here. First of all, silence is better than anything you can ever say when it comes to sales. And most sales reps can't help themselves. They can't control their own need to be able to, they hear a customer say an objection, whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I know what I should say at that moment." And so they try to interrupt the customer right then and tell them, "Here's how we handle that." Well, the problem is, here's the problem. You don't know if that prospect was going to talk for 30 more seconds, 1 more minute, 5 more minutes, 15 more minutes, or 30 more minutes. When you interrupt them, and sales reps can't help it, they do this all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've kicked a sales rep at a sales meeting, or I'm in a conference call and we're listening to a prospect talk and everybody in the room is telling me, "Hey, you should say this, you should say that." I'm like, stop it. I'm listening. Because I want to hear what that prospect is saying. And in those minutes of where I could probably say something that would make a lot of sense, but I may miss out on keeping him talking. And here's what happens. He may start talking to himself. It goes on 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. Then he starts to self-discover that maybe everything isn't so great the way they currently are doing things. He might start talk themselves into why they actually need your products. See, if they say it versus you say it, it's way more powerful. They'll overcome their own objections. They'll start saying stuff like, "Well, you know what, maybe I don't have to really worry about this. I'll just do this." Or maybe some people are scheduled this week off and here's what we'll do. We'll do it this, we'll do it that. Let them come up with their own ways to come over their own objections instead of you trying to come up with a clever line. Guess what else happens? When somebody's doing all the talking, magic happens. It's called rapport. They start to like you. You get them to talk, and they start to like you versus you doing all the talk and hoping that they'll like you. It's the opposite. They'll give you clues on how to sell them. Keys. They might say, "Man, if you could do this," or "I wish your product did this." And then all you got to say is, "Oh, my bad." Fall on your sword, fall on yourself, and say, "My bad, I forgot to explain that." Or, "Oh, you know what, I didn't do a very good job explaining it. Let me tell you how we handle that," and boom, 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 boom. Get them talking. Let them talking. Don't interrupt your clients, and you're going to see more sales and more friends and more better relationships than if you do all the talking. Hope that works for you. If you get a chance, share this with somebody if somebody else you know in sales might need this, and I hope it works for you. Charge for it this week.